All right, welcome to New England Beer Buddies. I'm Mark, this is my friend Garrett. For this video, we're going to be talking about our favorite mainstay beers, by which we mean beers that, are obviously some of our favorite beers, but ones that we can get pretty regularly, not something that's really obscure that we can only, able to get, once a year, but something that's, pretty easily available depending on, how you get your beer. Garrett and I actually kind of have sort of differing definitions of, what's easily available, depending on how our consumption habits are different. I'll let Garrett talk about his picks.
All right, so basically the way, Mark just said, we have some kind of different standards here, I guess. Basically the way I'm defining mine is it's pretty much up here in New Hampshire, grocery stores sell beer. So for the most part, my kind of delineation is if it comes in a can and I can pretty easily find it, liquor stores or grocery store fairly consistently. For me, these are all going to be pretty sessionable beers rather than, for the most part, they're just going to be sessionable beers. And also for me, things that work well in warm or in cold season. So actually, as much of a porter fan and all that as I am, it's actually going to tend towards more towards just straight ales and lagers for the most part, for me anyways. So I guess some of my mainstays pretty much I could list off. Definitely Long Trail Ale, just their straight Long Trail Ale. I know they have a bunch of other good stuff. I visited up there. It's a great brewery, very beautiful area too. But Long Trail Ale is one from Vermont, is one of my big ones. Jack's Abbey House Lager is also a really pretty routine one in my rotation, anyways. And then there's also the 603 Winnie Amber Ale, which Winnie being Winnipesaukee, it's a big lake up here. So I guess what I like about each of those, like I said, they're all sessionable. They're all still pretty flavorful, but they're all fairly, I guess, universal season-wise, for me anyways, right? Summer, spring, autumn, doesn't matter. I've had 2 out of the 3, I guess, I've had at the brewery. I haven't had the Jack's Abbey at their location. And these are kind of my go-tos. The Long Trail probably being my default number 1. If I had to pick a number 1 out of the 3, I guess I could go Long Trail, then when the 603 Winnie Amber, and then the Jack's Abbey House Lager. I think these are things that just throughout my day, working in the yard, whatever, that I can just kind of drink fairly easily. They're pretty much one of these 3 is fairly consistently in my fridge. And I just also want to say that these are all kind of subject to change at any given moment. I'm not locked into these 3 beers. I'm not a purist about it, but those are 3 of my favorites, just kind of all around beers. Also beers that I would kind of just bring somewhere, I guess, is part of what I'm thinking is, beers that I would just kind of have and serve other people and bring somewhere that I know they're pretty much, your average beer drinker is pretty much going to be okay with it. They're not going to be off-put by it at all. So I guess that's my little few picks. There's certainly others, but I don't know if you want to talk a little about yours and about how you defined your mainstays.
Yeah, so the way I want to define my mainstay beers would be ones that honestly that I drink the most, and ones that are fairly easy to find. For me, like in Massachusetts, I have to actually go to a liquor store for the most part, and I always just go to a designated craft beer store. So the options of what's available there is, it's pretty good. So these are the beers I want to pick would be a bit more difficult to find. They're not going to be, at just like a gas station that also has, a liquor license. There are also ones that are fairly commonly on tap, like in a restaurant with a pretty decent tap list, which is most of the restaurants I go to. So one of the ones I chose was Jack Abbey's Hopponius Union, which is an India Pale Lager. I find that one it's very, very crushable. and it really is. It's like, lucky to be in such a, like, it's, I don't get 6 packs of beer anymore. I usually almost always buy singles, but one of the ones that I do that on occasion is Jack Abbey's Hopponius Union. Really one of my favorites. Another one of my mainstays is Allagash White. It's also one where, like, it's pretty much yes, it's very good. And also, it's particularly, like, it's almost at like pretty much every restaurant. It's one of the sort of the most popular, like, craft beers. And that's also one where it's great, at any time of year, particularly in the summer, but, it tastes just as good, when it's cold out too. That's one I get quite a bit. Another one is definitely, like, it's probably for a lot of people, it's not easy to get enough to be a mainstay, but for where I live, the Maine beer company, Lunch IPA. It's really, really good. And I wanted to make one of my selections at IPA, but it's like, to be honest, like, I think about, like, the last, like, I think 4 or 5 times I've been out, I think I've either gotten a Lunch IPA or saw it on the menu. So, and it's something that it doesn't come in a very convenient, form. Like, it doesn't come in 6 packs. I think I've only seen it in, like, a bottle, and it's like, I think it might be like it's over a pint. It might be something like 16 pints, 9 ounces, or 16.
16.9 ounces.
Yes, 16.9 ounces. Yes, a 16 pint. That would be really
quite enormous.
Yeah. But that's something I can, in the craft beer stores that I go to, you can pretty much always see a couple of bottles of it. And, I've been lucky enough that it's on tap in a lot of places near me. So again, that'd be something like, maybe if I move somewhere, I would have to replace it with something else. But for right now, where I am, that would definitely be one of my mainstays. But yeah, that's kind of the thought behind my selections. If any of you would like to comment and on ones that you feel would be your mainstay beers, feel free to do that below. Do you have anything else you want to say, Garrett, or?
Just a quick one. You're absolutely correct that your stuff is more single and on tap driven, and my stuff is more 12-pack driven. And just as I probably said it before, as a quick informational note for any people in the area, the liquor licensing difference is you have to go to a package store in Massachusetts or someplace with a quote liquor license. Up here where I am, some of the reasons for my selections are any gas station or grocery store or convenience store that you walk into sells beer, so a lot of mine are actually more 12-pack oriented, and then what I typically do is get some of the specialty beers like Mark's talking about. That's more of like, these stay in my fridge, the ones I talked about, and then I'll either get 4-packs or singles or something like that, and those kind of rotate through, and I'll enjoy a couple of those a weekend, but these are kind of the things that stay there just to kind of have a beer supply, I guess. So there's definitely a difference in terms of shopping habits and things like that too, because if I'm doing my grocery run, these are my mainstay beers, partially because if I'm doing my grocery run, I can just throw a 12-pack of Long Trail in my cart while I'm at it. So that's definitely why we have part of a difference here. That's the only thing I wanted to add. So like Mark said, let us know what your mainstay beers are, what your go-tos are. Maybe there's something big we're missing here that that we should be giving a little more credit to and giving a shot. Unless you have something, I think I'm good to wrap up.
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Alrighty. Well, as always, drink good beer and tune in next time. Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.